Well, I bought it from a farmer way out in the country in 1939. And I stayed out there till 1945, till I come here, but used to use it to go to town. We were 9 miles from the nearest town. And, you know, to just run errands more or less, and as a sport bike. And then after I come here, well, I used to use it to go to town and one thing another, and then I got a job at the senior citizens home 1 mile from here, and I used it to go to work for 38 years and 5 months. And I run it in the winters when the road was clear, and in the summer, of course, I run it all the time, back and forth to work, until I retired. And then after I retired, I used it just to go to town and down to Wales home, do little errands and that. So, and I still love running my bicycle. I was really determined I wanted a bicycle. I'd been wanting one for a few years. My father couldn't afford to buy me a bike, so I worked for farmers and did this and that. I worked, it was for 25 cents a day, pulling weeds in turnips, and saved my money to buy a bicycle. And finally I got enough, and I had enough, and when this one came up for sale, I bought it. Well, I went up in, it was a cow pasture really, and it was a little bit of a slope, so I used to coast down that. If I fell off, there wasn't gravel or anything, I wouldn't get hurt. But that's the way I learned to balance it, and then after a while I learned to pedal it too. But then I got so about 2 days before I went over to my uncle's, about, maybe quarter of a mile on my bicycle on the old country roads, and there was only a wheel track. You know, you didn't have a road, not paved or nothing, and it was kind of hard to keep your balance and pedal, you know, and learn to run it at the same time. But my mother told me when I bought it, she said, "What do you buy a bike for? You don't know how to run it." But I learned how to run it. Well, this was the only bicycle that was for sale at that time, and I bought it. And I said, I haven't regretted it since, really, because when I came here to Richmond, there was a dealer, and he dealed in CCM, so parts were plentiful, tires and everything. So I said, I was fortunate, really, that I had a CCM. But I said, I'll say that they're one of the best bicycles I think ever made. The dealer here in Richmond, he was giving up his bicycle repair shop and selling bikes, and I went over to get some parts to have them on hand, and he had these pedals, and I bought them from him. And I think it's about maybe 10 years ago, but I think these pedals were patented in the 20s. No, I've never owned a car.
Why not?
Well, I couldn't afford one, to tell you the truth, for maybe a good many years. And when it come, I thought maybe I would get one. And the doctor at work told me, he said, "Wilfred, with 5 boys around the house," he said, "you'll never have it." So he said, "I would advise you not to get one." So I never got one. So here I am without a car still. I can't pedal up much of a hill because, you know, it pedals harder and my breath isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah. No, it's never easy going uphill.
No.
Downhill though?
Hey?
Is it still fun going downhill?
Oh yes. And this bicycle, you see, I started here, I could coast pretty near the neighbors. There ain't a better bicycle to coast than this model. That's what the dealer told me, and I agree with him. Yeah, it coasts good.